Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got three special guests here today, which is awesome. First we've got Mark D Valenti. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing fabulous, Jonathan. I'm glad to be back on one of your shows after a bit of a hiatus. So thank you.
Yeah, I always give you. We'll talk about the movies I always give
It's okay.
and
It's
stuff.
okay.
So, Samantha Marie is also with us today. How are you doing, Samantha?
Hey, what's up, all? It's been a while.
And it's so funny because I think this year only your second time on Indie Film Cafe, and this year's
Yeah,
second Corey Feldman movie.
right?
So and Corey Haim because they were both in Busted,
Yeah.
the last one we did. And we've got Derek Huey here too. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. And he's never been on the show before, I don't think. And I don't think he's been
No,
on
not this one. I think just horror, blood, and coffee.
Just Horror, Blood, and Coffee, which was our old podcast, which we have not brought back. We kept talking about bringing it
I
back, and
know.
busy. Everybody's busy doing a million
Life,
things. Yeah, whatever. But it's okay. We're here to talk about the Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, and Nicole Eggert film, Blown Away, which I hope you all were blown away by it. As much,
I'm sure a lot of teenage boys were blown away by it.
including
Yes,
myself. When I was a
teenage boys.
Right.
Yes.
Well, when
Hopefully, you
I
guys got some electrolytes in your system from rewatching the movie.
Right. Exactly.
I do remember needing a lot of water after watching this.
Now, this is my first time actually watching it. So,
Yes. So as an
yeah.
adult, and then Mark, was this your first time watching it?
It was actually my first time watching it. Needless to say, it was not one that I would go into Blockbuster and take off the shelf. So this was
I
the
don't
first
think
time I
this movie
watched.
was in Blockbuster,
What? Oh,
honestly.
it was past the Blockbuster era, I
No, I
guess.
think
Maybe.
I do. Well, we'll talk about all that.
Okay.
But
All
Derek, and
right.
this is your first time watching it too.
First and last.
Well, all right. Well, we'll talk about this when we get back after listening to some mood music. And we are back. All right. So I do want to hear. Okay, so first thoughts because this was your first time. Let's go with Samantha first. Since we kind of talked about it earlier or whatever, tell the audience at home what was your first thoughts when you were watching it.
Horniest movie I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Pretty
that
much.
wasn't like softcore porn or porn.
Yeah, it was like kind of a middle between both of those.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it
What?
was like a running joke towards the middle when we were like, again? Like another sex scene?
Jeez.
Oh.
What about you, Derek?
It was pretty much bored, 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 bored. Oh, titties. Bored, 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 bored. Oh, titties again. Bored, bored. There was a lot of titties in between the boredness.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I wanted to add something new to what they've said already, but I really don't have much to add. I will tell you, when I was watching this, I was like, "Where's my volume control?" Because I have a 17-year-old son, and he's like, was probably thinking, "Wait, what's Dad watching in the other room there?" So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is homework for something. Sure.
You know, it's weird though that like I feel like during the sex scenes though, like the music wasn't like the typical like wow, wow. It was like really weird music for a sex scene.
What?
It was a little weird.
What specific
Both
contractual element that she had to be naked a certain amount of times? Like I was wondering in my mind, how do they measure that? And I was going to look it up, but I didn't. But maybe
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
I never want to see Corey Feldog's O face ever again. Let me say that. That was frightening. The way his like lips curled. Oh my god. It's like, dude, come on.
Do you think that was acting or do you think that's his real like
I hope that was acting, but it could be the real way he acts when he's about to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if y'all are watching Dancing with the Stars, I mean, we might see it.
I don't know. That might be his it might be his enjoyment face. And
Yeah.
he's like, handling the girl. I don't it's funny because you did send him a message and he hasn't replied yet. But
So normally he does respond to me. Like the last movie we did, Busted, I was like reviewing all of my messages from him, and I was like dying laughing because the last movie, he literally was like, "Oh God, why are you rating that piece of garbage?"
I think this one he might be okay with a little bit more than that
Yeah,
one because that one had, I mean, he had a lot of problems with that one. Because he's also the director of that of
right.
Busted. But this one, I mean, come on now. You can't get mad at a movie where you get to have sex with Nicole Eggert. Like you can't get
Right.
mad at that. But I want to get into a little bit of background on this film, and then we'll go into actually what the quote unquote plot is about. Because there's, I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, I'll just say it's pretty much. If you watch like a Joe Esterhaus film, like Basic Instinct, or all those kind of things, it's very much that. And it's an erotic thriller, but for teens, and stuff. And that's pretty much how they
Yeah, so
they
I guess.
made it. Was that?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Can you hear me still?
Hmm?
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay. Pulling on my cord there for a second to get it out of there. So excuse me.
That's what you did last night.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Last night. I do have a question though for you, Jonathan Moody.
mhm.
What possessed you? What was your motivation for picking this film and subjecting us to it?
Son of a
Yes,
bitch.
do tell.
I've subjected Mark to many a movie he has been sort of frustrated with in some way. I showed him a movie called High Strung that starred like Jim Carrey and some a guy named Steve Odekirk and other people, and he hated that one. But I think that was with the fiery passion. I think you might have liked this one a little bit more.
I mean,
Um,
only go up at that point, yes.
what?
So you can only go up at that point. That
Yeah,
is
at that
correct.
point, that was the lowest. I think that was the first. You should have been like, if this is it, no, I can't.
It's all right.
And then what is the other one? There's a couple other ones I've subjected you to that you just weren't that into, but you also watched Fever Lake, starring Corey Haim,
Yeah.
last year. And the reason I chose you both is because last year you were with Anna, Mark, and then Jackie was with you, Samantha, for the Busted one. So
Mhm.
I figured switching people around, partners around, and we got Corey Haim again, and then Corey Feldman in this one.
Mm.
So
Switching partners, just like in this movie.
That's
Dun
right.
dun dun.
yeah, pretty
You
much.
beat me to that, yes.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, that was the only reason I picked you both to be subjected to this. I do remember like, because when I was younger, like a teenager, I you would get like those free HBO, you know, previews or whatever. You can watch HBO for like a day, a couple days or something. And I
mhm.
remember because we didn't at our house we didn't have HBO, so I would get that moment. And so when that one day this movie played, and I was
Ooh,
like, I liked Corey Haim and Corey Feldman from License to Drive and and Lost Boys, and I was like, ooh, what's this? And then I saw Nicole Eggert naked, and I was like, okay, I'm
You're
gonna
like
keep
sold.
watching this. Yeah, I got sucked right in,
I
and
guess I'll watch this movie.
and then there was a lot of it, which was like I don't remember it being that much. Like I remember like there being sex scenes, but I don't remember like I think there was like 5 or 6 sex scenes in this movie, and I don't remember that many. And I sort of remembered Corey Feldman having it, so it's like, oh man, was that like in his contract? Like he's like, if Corey Haim gets to have sex with his girlfriend, can I have sex with her too? You know,
Right.
The
right?
world needs to see my O face.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, is because Corey Haim and Nicole Eggert actually were dating. So I'm wondering how much of that was actually them
ooh.
like getting it on. It looked almost real. Like you didn't see, because they were covered at times, but they looked like they were doing it, you know.
Well,
So,
I'm glad that you watched it that intently and that closely to be able to report back on that. I didn't know, I wasn't analyzing that, but I did not know that bit of advice. A bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Trivia. I will tell you though, Jonathan. Maybe again, maybe I'm just so the bar is so low, but I actually didn't think some of it was filmed that bad. Not that part, but in general, it was better than I expected. Let's just say, compared to some
well,
other
the
gems.
filmmaker is actually a cinematographer. That's what he does, and that's what I
Okay,
was going to
cool.
get into real quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so here's a little backstory. So the movie was directed by Brendan Spencer. He was the cinematographer for a lot of movies, but a lot of like B-level type movies. There's a movie called Blue Monkey, um, that he was in with Steve Railsback was in that. He did the cinematography for 21 Jump Street, Street Justice, Cobra, the TV show. A lot of these were TV shows. And then he was the director of let's see, he's got his start with directing Blown Away was his first feature. Um, but he directed like 3 episodes, 21 Jump Street, the TV show Cobra as well, The Club, a movie, and like lately he's been making movies like or doing a lot of Stargate stuff and The Flash and things like
And
that.
I did read too that he was the director of photography special effects shooting unit for Jason Takes Manhattan, which is one of my
Oh,
favorite
It is
movies.
my favorite Jason
Yes.
movie, yeah. So we yeah, he worked on that as well. Yeah. So he's done a lot of, he also did First Blood camera work for First Blood and stuff like that. So he's
yeah.
been doing stuff for a while. And then, he got his start on here. The writer, Robert Cooper, worked on Stargate a lot, that was his big thing. So I'm guessing that's why he brought the director, and they probably did work together really well on this. But he got his start on Blown Away, and then he did a movie called The Dark, um, starring Stephen McHattie and Brian James.
Wow.
Um, what is it? Yeah, a bunch of different movies, and then sort of he was the creator of Stargate Universe and Stargate
Okay.
Atlantis. So they started doing that stuff. So when even though he wasn't I don't think he did the DPing of this movie. He probably knew how to get good shots and stuff. So I kind of agree with that. I mean, we
Yeah.
do have a cinematographer here that could tell us whether or not he did. Did you think he did a good job with the cinematography, Derek?
Yeah, there was a lot of gliding shots, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff that you usually don't see in these made for TV movies. Usually they're pretty static. This one, the camera moved around quite a bit.
Yeah. So
So
I'm
yeah,
so for a movie like this, which it is a TV movie, but and that was why I was like thinking, oh shit, it is a TV movie. So I wonder if it counts for Indie Film Cafe, but it wasn't produced by a studio.
sure.
So
What TV channel was it made for? Skin.
yeah, it had to be Cinemax or something,
Yeah.
you know.
I tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
Um,
to all your points, I think, yeah, exactly. There was something aside from being distracted by the pervasive, intense sexuality there. It wasn't horrible. It really wasn't. I mean, I feel like it was like you said, the cinematography. It wasn't horrible. I don't know what their budget was on this. I mean, I feel like whatever it wasn't high, but they made the most of it. It seemed like.
Hmm.
the
Somehow, knowing that those two were dating, I feel almost dirtier.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it'd make me feel better, but it doesn't.
I think it's yeah, because I think like, they were I mean, it was better, it was like more intimate, but then at the end with Corey Feldman and doing that, I'm like,
yeah.
is this like
Yeah,
what is this? This is like a little weird because
and yeah,
they're
and honestly,
playing brothers.
since this was my first time seeing it. Like, I thought the movie title came from like the sex scenes, like blown away. But it wasn't until like the towards the end where I was like, oh, okay, that's where it comes from.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I mean there was a lot of gunfire at the end, but there was a lot of things blowing up,
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
and my biggest question as a person who hasn't seen this since like teenage years, I was like wondering how the fuck did she know how to do that? Like this is 93 and she's 17 years old, Like how does she have like the knowledge and wherewithal for to be able to just go and grab to make a bomb and put it under somebody's car so nobody knows how to do it. You know what I mean? Like how does somebody know how to do that? Like it
Yeah, pre-internet stage.
I
What?
know.
Y'all never made car bombs at 17?
I did, and I mean, but you could now, like more so because you got the internet, and
Right.
there's things like you can learn. You could say, "Oh, I learned this shit from the dark net" or something. Like you can make up like good reasons. Here, she'd have to be like, "Well, I met it from I learned how to do it from that biker guy I met up with." Which that storyline was weird, you know,
Mhm.
So
like
you're wishing they would have fleshed out her story and backstory a little bit more.
a little bit. I mean, because I sort of
I
like.
like how you said that. Fleshed out.
So-
My mind is in the gutter completely with
I
this
think
movie.
he had to have done that on purpose because I didn't even
Like,
catch that.
let's
And
drink.
then
Let's drink to that.
there you go.
It's just
Oh,
decaf coffee in here somewhere.
just
Mine's just water.
mine's soda. I'm but yeah. So I don't know. It was yeah. I wish there was more backstory of who she
Sure.
was because really there really isn't anything like all she's just some spoiled little brat chick who uh didn't like her mom for whatever reason. We never found that out because she blew up her mom, like her dad,
Right.
you know, like we don't. Was it because she was late for her birthday? Like what was the point? And she had like okay. This is I definitely want to ask this, Mark, because
Yeah.
of your line of work and everything. What like was she just a psychopath like to you?
I'm not in the habit of diagnosing characters, especially ones that are like this. I mean, I was watching this and I was watching it through the lens of trust, right? Because this movie is about trust and distrust, etc. And not to get all academic here, but I don't know if y'all are familiar with a book called Speed of Trust. And it
Mm.
essentially shows there's 4 elements of trust that must be there. The first one's integrity. Is this person who they say they are? Do they live their life as they say they are? The other one is intent. So this person may be a good person, but if her intent is to cause disruption, that's different than, let's say, Corey Haim's intent. I know it's not his richest character's name. So intent,
Sean, I
integrity.
think it was his name, right?
Oh,
Sean.
yeah, yeah. Was it Sean? Okay, yeah. It was clearly made an impact. So that's intent, integrity, and then the other side is capabilities. Is this person capable of doing this? And to your point, is she capable of creating a bomb or not?
It was
And then
Rich. It was
results.
Rich. I was wrong.
Okay, and then results. So I was really looking at the mode of trust and what was her motivation
Mhm.
more than anything else like that. And obviously, to your point, it wasn't exactly entirely clear what her motivation was, but they were misaligned between riches and what the hell was her name? What was the character's
Megan.
name?
Megan.
Megan, yes. So, but yeah, it's interesting. It's I don't even get in the habit of doing that when it comes to, well, I'll use the word again, fleshed out characters in major films. So I just let alone this one.
Bad
But
drink.
I'm always thinking about this could be our game. But for this one particularly, I was not less focused on that. But yeah, I think it's. But I think it. I hate to admit this, but during the scene, whenever he was had his foot on her underneath the table, I was a little worried that they're going to get caught. I shouldn't have cared that much, but I was slightly concerned.
Well, I think that's the like what the
Yeah,
thriller aspect of it, like
right.
at times is thrilling of like, and he did get caught,
He
you
did get
know,
caught. Yeah,
because
exactly.
the father was like, "Are you playing you're playing
Right.
footsie with my daughter, or are you really trying to have a real relationship with her, and stuff like that." I honestly, that's another thing. The father should have been more planned out,
Yeah.
and everything.
Well, when he
Um,
first came on, I thought it was Jurgen, whatever his name is, Penshaw, the guy that was in the sixth, there was Seventh Seal or Seventh Sign, and all those other movies. So the guy that was in the Mouth of Madness. What's the guy's name?
oh,
Jurgen something or other.
yeah, a
I
print
thought
show
that's
or something. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that's who it was at first when I first saw him, and then I realized it wasn't, and he was Timu version, as they say nowadays.
I
Yeah. But he was in a soap opera. What soap opera was he in? General Hospital or something?
All
Oh,
My
this.
Children.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
He
wouldn't
had
know
the
that. I
hair,
just
like
looked him up
hair
real quick.
was the soap opera hair.
Did you did you used to watch soap operas at all?
I did. I just don't really remember which one. It was like when my grandma was alive, and like that's all she watched. I just can't remember.
My mom watched all those. Like she watched like All My Children, General Hospital, all
I
that
think those
stuff.
are the
And
ones I watched because I remember General Hospital.
yeah, I don't remember anything about them. You know,
But back to what's her name? Megan.
Megan.
Okay, I just kept referring to her as pre-boob job. Nicole is what I kept
Yeah,
referring.
before what Baywatch, right, or whatever.
Yeah. Um, but to the that scene where she was like she had double fisting guns. Remember that scene where she was like pew 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 pew? I was like, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, or she was just like
Yeah, the shootout towards the end,
well, I mean, it would have been impressive if she could aim, you know,
right?
like
She had two guns.
she
I
had
mean,
two.
or any of them for that matter,
No,
right?
the cops were shooting
Right,
and
right,
none of them
right,
had her, and I'm like,
right.
I felt like they were shot on like two, no pun intended, but they were shot on like two different days, you
Yep,
know,
I can see
like or
that.
something because like and they were just like, let's try to match this, make this work, you know, and everything. It just didn't even it did not work. It was so and like all of a sudden the cops were there. Did he call the cops? Did the cops just come to the house? Like
Well, he was wearing a wire, and so
Oh,
that's
missed that part.
yeah.
I didn't see that.
You guys must have had like lack of blood flow maybe by then. But yeah, he had because I had to like I think I had to rewind too because I was like, what the hell? And yeah, he was wearing a wire, and then he gave it back to his cops. He's like, here's your wire, and then
I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember that either.
Uh,
Okay, time to clean up. And then it's all,
You know.
oh Lord. So now we know why your son wasn't allowed to come in your room. Okay.
Right, exactly. No.
his son was probably watching it in the other room.
Like, what are you watching, Dad? Let me check out that on Tubi. You know, it's so funny because I think this has to be the unrated version because there's an R-rated version as well for this movie, and I'm like, there's way too many sex scenes in this. Like, this has to be the
Oh yeah.
one. You know, I mean, but yeah, this movie was. I don't know. And it's funny because like a year later, there was another movie called Blown Away that came
Mhm.
out. So whenever I would talk about Blown Away to people, I had to express that this is the Corey Haim one I'm talking about, or was it Jeff Bridges or something? Or
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because when you first
Tommy Lee
asked me to
Jones.
do this, I was Googling it and that one came up. And I was like, what? I don't see the Corys in this.
yeah, they were. I mean, I think they're both on Tubi too, like right next to each other. So you got to be careful which one you watch. You might watch the good one because that actually was a pretty good movie.
It
Uh,
was.
yeah, better than this. You know.
and Moody doesn't have us watch good movies on this show.
Well, no. I mean, why would you want to, why would we want to do that? I mean,
It's fair.
that's the thing with the I'm sure Corey Feldman was going to write back to you and say, like, why are you watching the worst movies I've ever made? Like, watch one of my good ones, you know?
Right.
No, Corey.
No, we got to see your O face, like Derek said. I mean, the problem I have with this movie too is that Corey Feldman's character is just too like one note all the time, like his acting, and he's so much better than that, you know. So I don't know if that was how he was directed to be, or if he just that's how he saw the character. I don't know, you know. But I guess we'll go into a little bit of the story because, like I said, there's a story, but there's not like a story. So it starts out basically with Corey Haim saving Nicole Egg. Well, starts out at the birthday party and stuff. Was she turning 17 at the time or 16? 16, I think.
I thought 17, but
No, I think she was 16 and she turned
at the
17 a
time.
year later. Yeah.
Okay.
That was supposed to be her sweet 16 and her mom gets blown up. But apparently her dad told her she was drunk. And yet, like, how did she not know? Like, I mean, she knew she did it. We find it, we find out that she just puts bombs in cars and bikes and other things.
That's
Very,
her thing.
yeah, that's her thing. I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm just gonna blow them up, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so she did that, and then we see there's a ski place, but no snow, you know.
Right.
Yes.
And so at one point, I remember him like riding up on his horse, and he says, "I'll make sure that the lifts are taken care of." I'm like, "What? What? This is a
Right.
ski resort? It's like
Mhm.
this is like worse than we did a movie called Blood Predator, and they had like barely any snow on the ground, but like that had snow. This had no snow, and and like or acting like there was, like
Right.
made no sense whatsoever. Um, and then he sees he goes by and sees the daughter, I guess, of the guy who owns the place now or something. Did you guys get that?
Mm.
I mean,
No.
it was somebody fancy and important. That's all I knew that owned something. But yeah,
I think
perhaps.
the father
Right.
owned that place or
So,
bought it or something, you
well,
know.
well, side note, why there anyway? Why, to your point about the snow, why make it a ski lift? Like, why do that? Why not have a arcade or something like that instead? You know what I mean? I didn't, unless there was some symbolic reason that was over my head
Right. Or like a horse ranch or
or
something.
something.
Real reason was probably because it was closed during the summertime and they could get
True.
Right.
But then just say it's a closed. Why do you talk about the lifts? Like nobody's going on
Maybe
those
they're just
lifts.
like, nobody will notice. We'll just put enough boobs in here, they'll forget about
That's true. I don't think anybody's paying attention to that.
it. Yeah,
Um
that lady was rode more than the horses were.
it. Other than the ski lifts.
and the ski well definitely the ski lifts. But yeah, the horses. Well, there were a few horses. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was really Corey riding them because there's one point you see him in the distance, but you can't tell if he's actually riding or if that's like a stunt guy that's riding them, because sometimes you don't let a- actors, unless they're really trained to be on horseback, ride a horse because you don't, they could fall off and,
Right.
get hurt
Right.
badly. So it's a bad idea, you know. But then, all right, so then so he saves her from the horse. All he did was come up to the horse and said, right? The horse backed down. Like she acted like he came in there and like jumped on the horse and did all these like things for her. Really, all he did was like, okay, calm down.
Right.
He was the horse whisperer.
Right. Well, they had some early '90s slow motion in that scene, so that made it very intense.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And And she was like far away from the horse,
yeah, I
and
know.
yet she was like terrified still. Like I was like, what is she doing?
Right.
And so yeah, so he saves her, so of course she gives him the invitation to come to her party. And apparently all of them had an invitation by someone, I guess. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was her or someone else
Yeah.
because yeah.
I will say there's a few times where I had to stop and rewind because like I wasn't paying attention and then something would happen and I'd be like, wait, why did that happen? And I'd have to like rewatch it. Like the scene where they're like letting the people in the party and the guy all of a sudden had to drop his pants. I was like, oh, I missed something. I rewind.
Apparently, he had it written on not on his hand. He
Right.
told him it was his back or something, and it was, I guess, his bottom. And so
Yeah.
he was like having to do that. I don't know why anybody would be okay with somebody writing on their bottom to get into a club, but
Right.
whatever. I
I
mean,
don't know.
You're the only person who has ever rewound this film for plot.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I did. I think I did rewind it a couple times just to make sure I heard something
Not for
because
plot.
I'm deaf in my left ear. So there's times I was like, because even the I think there was closed captions, and even that I just couldn't fully figure things out. But anyway, so they go into this party, and he hooks up with the girl. And I was writing to Samantha today, pointing out that like Paul, our buddy Paul, presents a tends to like point things out to me that annoy the shit out of me now because now I see it. you know? And one of the things he points out is like if you watch almost every movie, it feels like people don't shut the door. They don't,
Mm.
like behind them. And they're having a sex scene and the door is like wide open. And I'm like, is somebody like gonna walk in? Was that the point? Like somebody goes, oh, wrong room. Nothing. They're literally just having sex with the door wide open. I'm like, nobody does that. Like, like nobody would, not even in the heat of the moment, somebody would still go, I need to shut this door and lock it so nobody
Right.
Right.
bothers us. And so,
Um, one of my notes before that sex scene, though, I literally wrote in my notes 5 minutes of awkward old man dancing at pool party. It was so long.
Oh yeah,
It was
the
it
dances.
was so long, you know.
yeah, it just kept going and going and going. And it was terrible dancing.
Oh, yeah.
It was awful.
Well, what's funny is the thing about when they shoot the scene, there's probably no music actually playing. So just imagine everybody just there, just
That's what I was thinking. I was
silence.
thinking, 'cause everybody's kind of dancing a different way,
Yeah,
so
it was so long.
I saw like one extra chick that was kind of getting into it though. Like I was like, "You go, girl." I hope you got more work later. And this isn't the only thing on your resume. You know. But yeah. So then they hook up, and the next day he finds out she's underage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what? He's like 18 or 19. He's not like much older than her, but like still, she's 17, and yeah. So he needs to hightail it out of there before daddy finds him,
Mm.
and they were having sex in the dad's bed,
Yeah.
which
As
I
one does, yes.
I don't what she said that her friend, which is bullshit, but she said her friend was in the other room or whatever, and that's why she was doing that. And all I could think about it was this was rebellion, right? Like she was having sex in dad's
Mhm.
bed
Mhm.
because she knew, right, that would piss him off, right?
I don't know. Did you see her bedding though? I mean, her bedding in her room was very like little kiddish, I feel like. So I just thought she wanted to have like a bigger bed, probably more comfortable. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just
Yeah.
my
Good.
observation.
It's a good catch.
yeah.
I think the theme of our conversation while we do this is going to be, wow, what were they shooting for here? Was it or was it literally just as was said? It just worked out in that way. They just
Yeah.
happened this betting. So listen, I'm
I
with
think you're
you.
probably right.
I'm with you though too because I'm falling into that trap. I'm like, oh, are they trying to look for this symbolism? Was this angle on this? Yeah, I agree with you though.
It all makes more sense when you realize these movies were made with a lot of coke.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were they thinking then? Oh my god! Give me another bump! Let's shoot this fucking thing!
Pretty
Much
much.
simpler times. So
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So the dad comes home early, I guess. So, and he has to hide or whatever. He's like on the whatever on the ledge
Oh yeah.
and everything, and then he sneaks into her car, which I don't know if he knew that was her car, but he was in a car, and then so she gets in her car, and like there's no like cell phones or anything back in those days, unless they have the big brick thing, but I never seen
Right.
them pull that out.
Mhm.
So I like imagine that they were, just not communicating with each other. So how did she know he was in the car? Like, did she? Like, that would normally scare somebody, if
Yeah.
somebody popped up and said, "Hey, are we going where you're going?" Like, wouldn't that like freak you out? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. But see I guess none of it has to make any sense because
Right.
really the point of the movies is boobies. That's
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like all the rest of the plot, happens to have to, as Derek pointed out, it's boring, boring, boring because there's really no I care for the plot. Like it's like, hey, look, let's get Jonathan to watch this movie when he's like, you know, 14 years old, and
Well, you know my stance on gratuitous nudity. Like, I don't like gratuitous nudity in like place of actual like character and story development. I don't like the laziness that it is. And I mean, the first half of this movie, I would say, was that. I mean, it got a little bit better towards the end, I feel like.
well,
You mean when stuff finally happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
when
was a good.
when stuff finally happened, yeah,
Yeah.
when people actually like there actually was a plot, like
Yeah,
oh, let's go murder daddy and then steal steal all his money, and then
Right.
I'm gonna frame you for it, basically, and then we're gonna kill you because this
Mm-hmm.
was all Corey Feldman's plot, point. And I was like, uh, I don't like that because like my biggest problem with it was, and maybe this could have been solved if they taken out one or two sex scenes and put more of Corey Feldman into the movie.
Right.
It just felt like we
It came out of nowhere.
came
Like,
out of
what?
nowhere. Like, let's have a twist. This was before M. Night Shyamalan, though, so this is, you
Oh,
know, at least that. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there was a
I like,
twist at the end. But
so I like how you said that.
yeah, it was like right before Sixth Sense. So maybe
oh,
maybe M. Night watched this movie and was like, "Hey, they had a twist at the end. Let me see if I can put one in mine." You know, and then he does it better. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but this movie, I don't know. After having not seen it in forever, and being a person who's made short films, so I've done stuff, right? I know like, a little bit better about the writing and the directing than I did when I was a kid. Once a kid, once again, didn't care.
Hmm.
I was like, oh wow, that's cool. There's a big
Right.
explosion. You know, and then
You
titties.
probably thought those people were really having sex.
It might have been.
I mean, my 11-year-old walked in. I mean, we were talking about this right when you came on, Mark, we have an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old, and it never fails. They want nothing to do with us until the second, like, a titty is on the screen, and then they walk in, and you're like, oh! And so, unfortunately, because there was like 18 times of titties being on the screen, there was a time where she walked in, my 11-year-old, and we had to explain because she had all these questions about sex scenes and how they're
no,
filmed. So we had that little discussion last night.
no. All because of this film, and now you have that memory where it was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
The Coreys are bringing families together.
see that? Wow.
I don't know if Corey Feldman wants to be known for that, but for that
He
specific.
probably does.
Actually, never mind. Knowing Corey, he might be okay with that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. So I just think like my biggest problem with this movie is that like, and I guess it doesn't really matter because I mean the movie is what it is. But like my biggest problem with the movie is that like Corey Feldman is in it, but he's not, and he's like got this big plot twist at the end, and he should be in it more. Like
Right.
there should have been more Corey Feldman. So sorry,
Well,
Corey.
maybe he pulled like how he was MIA for his first couple of weeks with Dancing in the Stars. Maybe he did the same thing. Maybe he just didn't show up for a while. They had just had to figure out his storyline, on the go.
Let's just put another sex scene in there. Okay.
Right?
if he came to set, we shot with him. If he didn't,
But
Yeah.
if he came to set, we'd have less sex scenes, So that was
Yeah.
that because
more Corey.
maybe if if they were together at that time, maybe they were just having sex and they were just like, let's just sneak in that room and film them, and that will,
Maybe that's why they didn't shut the door.
There's just secret cameras all over the place, and then they're like, "Oh, we already made the movie or half the movie,"
I mean, it makes sense they were together though, because he was like full on titty sucking, and I was like, "Come on, like what the hell? What actress agreed to do this?"
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, they were all. I mean, there was chemistry, and you
Yeah.
could tell, and that was good because that's probably the best thing about the best thing about the movie is how you know romantic and chemistry, but like.
Yeah.
Right. What were you gonna say, Mark?
Let's say, yeah, romantic. That's the word I was thinking of too.
Maybe not romantic, but
So,
I
well,
don't know.
so what else? What else,
Flesh that
Jonathan?
out.
Right, right. So what else, Jonathan? And rewatch this. Like, what else did you like about this film?
Um, I don't know. It reminded me of like a Joe Esterhaus style,
Mm.
like teen, erotic thriller. This was erotic thrillers if like, this was made for the teenage audience and not the adults, or whatever. And everything. And I thought that would have been kind of a cool
Mm.
maybe subplot for teenagers to watch or whatever. Like technically if you're watching an unrated movie, I will tell you, back in the day when remember that movie Kids?
Yeah,
That came out
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. Sam, you remember that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I rented it at the age of 13 years old, I was
Wow.
not allowed, like, you weren't really allowed to rent that technically, but it was unrated. So they were like, the clerk behind at the video store was like, this is unrated. Okay, I guess I'll let you rent it.
Oh,
Because,
right.
right, there's no rating on it, so sure. And no, that means no, 13-year-olds are not allowed to rent that movie, and they should be 17 or they're probably 18 or older, to rent it. And so this movie was unrated at the video stores, I believe, and stuff, and I would rent it, with my
Mm-hmm.
friends and stuff. After I saw it on whatever Showtime, I was like, oh, let me bring this home, like.
Right.
It's, I mean, as a kid, that's what you're thinking about. But as an adult, like, would I watch this again on my own? No. Again, I don't know. If
Not at
some
least the whole movie, right?
Yeah.
So not at least the
bits,
whole movie. The whole
bits and
snips.
pieces, maybe.
Oh, Feldman's O face
Yeah.
over and over.
See,
Yes.
I live in a smaller town, so we didn't. I mean, we had a Blockbuster, but it was like in a different town. We had a family video, and in our family video, there was like that secret room
Oh
behind
yeah.
the doors. I bet this movie would have been in there.
Yeah, I don't think this
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't think this movie would have been in Blockbuster. Don't think so. I don't know though. Maybe. They were very actually I'm actually kind of surprised. I remember they did rent like David Dakota movies, and those are sort of like those are like homoerotic movies. And I was always surprised that they did those because that's definitely a lot of those were not family friendly kind of things and stuff. And
Mhm.
I know Blockbuster's a little bit more family friendly.
Yeah, they didn't have a room.
No, they
And I know
didn't.
that because when I went to Blockbuster, I asked, and they said no, and I was like, "Oh,
Did
okay."
they say it disappointedly? Like, oh no.
We wish.
I only
Yeah.
asked that one time.
But you were gonna say something, Mark, I think, right?
No,
With
no,
that.
no. It's just no. I just think it's. I forget what rating system you use on this show. And by
The
the way, I want
stinkometer.
to. The stinkometer. Of course, I should know that by now. And for the record, I was happy to be part of the Hooked on Hitchcock film where you guys reviewed Rope. By the way, was that Rope or no? Was it Rope? I don't know what it was. It was
I
one
think
of
it
them.
was
So
rope. I think it was
yeah,
rope.
yeah, yeah. Which I thought was. No, I'm always a big fan of that. I couldn't remember the stinkometer. Is it the higher stinky it is, the better it is, or the more? Like, could you please refresh my
Okay, I'll,
memory on
I'll
how that
refresh it
rating
now,
system
and
works?
I guess so I won't have to refresh it later.
Fair,
But
fair.
like,
So I can think about it. So I'm going to be
yeah,
very
because now
accurate
you're
to
gonna
this
have to
rating.
like, yeah, start really thinking.
I'm
So
going to take some notes if that's
with our stinkometer score, like one is like very, very good, like a very, very good movie. And
okay.
then 10 is very, very stinky. So like always Paul likes to say like if it was a really nasty fart,
Yeah.
that's a 10. It's like whatever.
Okay.
But if it's like not that bad smelling, it's like
Okay.
maybe a 5 to less,
I
What
don't
or
know,
would
but nasty farts can be entertaining. So
but
I'm more confused than anything.
what would a shark be?
a shark will be a 10 plus.
Oh,
10
okay, 10
plus.
plus. I didn't know. Okay, 10 plus.
We
Is
what was it you said, Paul? Mark?
is it possible for a non-stinky movie to fall in here? So does it have to have some threshold to be on this in this stinky movie anyway?
So
I'm just trying to obsess over this to make sure that I have this right. So,
Are you
in other
saying
words,
like could it be like a I mean a
I'm saying like
non-stinky film?
I'm gonna throw it out there just because I'm a big fan of the original Fargo movie. For instance, would you rate Fargo on this list, or
Yeah.
to just not? We're just not. Oh, so
Yeah, it would be like a 1 or 2.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's impossible not to be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, because like we sometimes do good movies. It's just
Okay, all
very,
right.
very seldom because we don't. We would rather like more 20s and up because we count all the three people
And
Okay.
it's
scores.
subjective. I mean, Moody's
Well,
made
yeah,
me
of
watch
course.
movies that like he loved and I hated. Remember that one
Yeah.
time you wouldn't let that director come on because I hated the
The
movie?
Secret Sex Lips movie.
Yeah, that movie.
You're like, let's
Yeah.
not have him on because you knew I was gonna be honest.
Yeah, you were gonna be a little honest and I think I did interview him or something at some point and he was gonna come on and
Yeah.
talk, but I was like, yeah. And
Well, I still think of that movie, and that was how long ago? Because of you, Moody.
yeah. Well, I mean that goes with with Mark with the high strung. Like he remembers how much he hated that movie
Yeah.
We do.
and everything. And I loved it. I mean, I thought it was hilarious. So I guarantee you, Sam, you'd hate it. You'd probably be more in line with them. And that's fine. That does show you how different things are with people's taste.
Mhm.
Like you could have been like surprised, and I could have been, what are you talking about? This is the greatest movie of all time. But no, it's not. It's not. But I know that. Like there was another thing. We had rest in peace, Madeline Deering. Madeline Deering was on Indie Film Cafe, and Paul had picked a movie that was a Polonia Brothers movie. Right? And Madeline and I, absolutely had such a blast with it. It was called Peter Rottentail. We had a blast with it. We loved it. We even voted low on the stinkometer scale because we just enjoyed the movie. And all Paul could hear is boing, 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 sound effect, and just drove him nuts and everything. But you know, but yeah, so there's some movies it's different for each
Mhm.
person. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I get again. I'm just somebody who likes to understand context, so I
Mhm.
appreciate you delving further into the scoring system.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this movie and like I said, there's a subplot where
Yeah.
like he follows her to a bar and I thought they were gonna have sex in the bathroom. Like I thought, oh
Right.
God, really? Like, because
Yeah.
he tells the guy to get out of there, and I was like, oh God, what are they gonna do now? Like, are they gonna? Is that what's gonna? Right? And I was just like, oh my God! And every single scene, it's almost threatening you with a sex scene. Like, is it gonna happen?
Right.
Is it not gonna
Right.
happen? You never know.
Right.
Um,
Poor guy comes back and he's like, I gotta really pee.
if I hold it enough, I'm gonna explode. Right? I thought that dude was gonna kick his ass too, or something.
Yeah, right.
Nope,
Yeah.
he just needed to pee.
Yeah.
And the other guy, like the guy that he punched, really?
Mhm.
That guy did not come back to like beat the shit out of him, like
Right.
for sucker punching him. Like that was like stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, the rest of the movie was like it wasn't good, but out of all like honestly, I like this better than Fever Lake, the last one we watched to Mark.
Oh
I,
yeah. Yes.
I liked
Yeah.
I
it
like
better.
explosions. I thought the explosions were pretty, cool. And I did read where it said it was shown on the 1992 MTV Movie Awards where they won Best Blow Ups. So
Oh,
that's kind
wow.
of a neat
What?
little trivia.
MTV
Yeah.
Okay.
promoted this movie.
Wow.
Yep. 1992 MTV Movie Awards.
I
All
didn't
right.
even know they were around that long.
I
I
know.
always remember them just from like the TRL days and stuff, like,
Oh
Yeah.
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 Um,
And then I
but
also wrote, let's see, shirtless Corey fighting clothed Corey.
that's right. They did have a little fight scene there
And
and
then I wrote
everything.
so many sex scenes.
And then
And then
there's
I
that
wrote Corey betrayal.
um so there was also the scenes with the other girl, Kathleen
Yeah,
Robertson's character.
yeah, from 90210.
Yeah, and so she's in it, but like all that doesn't even matter. They even
Right.
kill her, and it's like, what was the point of any of it? Like, why? Just because, once again, I think it's literally to show that Corey Feldman is a psychopath, and
Hmm.
so was the other chick. But
Yeah,
like,
they just didn't like dive deep into it though. There's so
yeah,
much more character development they could have really looked into. They like
yeah,
missed opportunities, you know. It could have been better.
right. And then when Corey Feldman dies, she turns like on him and like it's like, oh, it was his, thing. Like he was the one the whole time doing everything. And I'm like thinking, oh God, if you really believe that, you're gonna be dead next. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, at that point he definitely knew but I didn't realize he had the wire, so I
Mhm.
just
Right.
wasn't looking and hearing that stuff. So I mean, I'm not gonna rewatch it to see that, but like
Mhm.
but it was but that makes more sense now because he was kind of asking questions to get her to talk, And I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking to myself, this is kind of weird. Why does he care? Like, like she and him were whatever, And it didn't even matter. The wire didn't matter because everybody died, or whatever.
Right.
Including
And she got blown away, tits out, just how she wanted
Yeah.
Yep, and then the what is it? That the Anderson, which was the homicide guy,
Yeah.
detective. I liked him, but
Yes.
he kind of reminded me of there's an actor that was in like Camp Nowhere and what was that? Like he was in a couple of Coen Brothers movies, like Blood Simple. Um I don't know if you he's a big guy. What was
Like
his
Joe
name?
Pilato or whatever. Not Joe Pilato.
Oh,
Shoot.
Emmett Walsh. Kind of
Oh,
reminded
Emmett Walsh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of reminded me of him, except this guy was Native American. I didn't see that. I don't.
It's part of his dialect sounded like that. I was wondering about that. I'm not even like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, he's
There's something
played a
about his
lot of
voice.
Native American characters, but then he's also played a lot of like, I don't know, American characters.
Hmm.
Like it's just strange. You could do both.
Well,
But yeah, his dialect did sound a little weird. For
yes.
that.
And I'm
Um,
sure, I don't know if you saw, but not that are nitpicking at this point. Whenever he did get shot, this, the squib went off here, and underneath his shirt, underneath his coat, there was nothing. There was no blood or anything else like
of
that.
course not.
But
Yeah.
I'm just nitpicking at this point on
Well,
some
I
kind of
mean,
problems.
none of that matters. I mean,
No,
there
you're
was
right. You're right. There were
and
so
none
many.
of it matters because the movie was just made for one particular reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe explosions too, some.
Yeah.
we should have a nihilistic movie review and see what we can say. None of it matters anyway. So how much does this matter?
But
Do you guys think that this movie helped Nicole get onto Baywatch? Was that like the role that got her Baywatch?
when did she do that? Like 95 or when did she
Yeah,
go into
she was
Baywatch?
on Baywatch after this movie
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, this would be the role that would take Baywatch away.
because she didn't
Yeah.
end up getting her boob
Right.
job until like she was already like on Baywatch for a while.
Actually, it says she was on it in 92.
Oh,
So about the
oh,
same year that this was
okay.
probably filmed.
Mhm.
So
So maybe this was the role that got her Baywatch.
maybe.
Maybe that's why.
I,
Because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, kind of makes sense.
I guess. I don't know. I've never thought about that. I
Obviously,
don't.
she would have a problem running around in like a skimpy bathing suit with
Right.
this movie,
Yeah, right.
So I wonder, like, because I wonder if people ever come up to her on the street and go, "I loved you and blown away," or "I saw you and blown
Right.
away," and like how her reaction to that is. Like,
Awkward.
I can imagine like if she's at a horror convention or something and people are just bringing that up, or can I get you to sign my blown away picture?
No. Ignore the smudge marks on it.
I know we're proud in this photo.
Gross.
Please sign it. That must be awkward.
Yeah, I mean, because she's whatever. It's funny to see like celebrities that have done movies like this, and they are actually more okay with it because they know there is a fan base to some of these
Mhm.
like films,
Right.
so they bring the pictures for people to sign. But like, I think she would not bring like she would do Baywatch, she would do Charles in Charge, she would
Mhm.
do headshots or whatever, but you would not
Right.
see this. Corey Feldman, on the other hand, may have pictures of this movie, for whatever, like him shirtless or whatever doing the O face. That would be the picture for him to get.
Oh yeah, he's got an album.
He has it hung on his walls.
Yeah, it's like all blown up and everything, so people can see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's blown away. All right. So let's go. We're going to go into the stinkometer score. Unless, does anybody have anything else that they want to, like, because Samantha, you did say you had a lot of notes or whatever. I don't know if you had a lot, but
No, I mean, I just literally, I've pretty much said all of my notes. I just wrote them just like with asterisks, just short and sweet. My last note was just the first review that I saw of this movie literally said, only one reason to watch this, and it ain't for the plot. And that's
mm,
like all I needed to know, just to sum it up.
yeah, that pretty much sums up the movie. So,
But it wasn't the worst movie that you've made me watch. So, I mean, there's that.
I mean, would you say it's better than Busted?
Yeah.
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 See, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
So there have been worse movies, but
Mhm.
this isn't that. But we'll find out. We'll find out what everybody's stinkometer scored. So like I said before, I'm gonna explain again real quick. The stinkometer score is a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being very, very good, 10 being very, very stinky and bad. Sometimes we can go 10 plus if you really feel like this was that bad of a movie. Or you can do like a 5.5 or 6.5 if you feel like it's between like one or the other, of your scores. Then we tally them all up by the end of the year. We have 3 scores. We tally them up, and then we find out what movie is high up on the ladder of stink. So, uh, I'm gonna go with let's go with you, Sam. What would you say?
I am going to give this an 8 on the stinky, and just due to lack of story and character development. Because honestly, like when these people got killed, I didn't give a crap. Like there was no like emotional connection with these people, so I just feel like they could have done a little bit more with it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Derek, what about you?
I guess with porn being so accessible on your phone and everywhere, there's really no reason for this movie to actually exist. So, I mean, I guess I would make it a 10 in stinkiness because there's no point to it. Like, there's no reason why you should ever watch it.
For sure. Definitely. All right. What about you, Mark?
Well, I'm going to say, perhaps because I've been beaten down by the crushing weight of all the other movies you've made me watch, that I cannot give this that high on the stinkometer. I give it like a 7 because I just think about the 10 movies, the 9 movies, and things you have me watch. I agree with what was said already, but I was surprised by some of the cinematography, and it was better than expected. So,
And the boobs.
and the movie, right.
I mean, those didn't hurt the movie. If anything,
Right.
that
It's
that probably
it,
was like I bet the writer had a script and then
yes.
he was like, "This sucks. Maybe I
Yeah.
just throw in a bunch of like,
So,
nudity and then it'll be a hit."
Yeah.
so like I will say, like so many unbuttoned shirts opening up, I would say that the boobs get a plus for the stinky because I've stuffed them in there gratuitously, stuffed them in there, but it also gets a negative, the negative as well. So it bounces the positives and negatives of the boobs. So I
Mhm.
still stick with my 7.
Did you just say
You were
the
going to say
boob?
something about bouncing.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes,
say,
yes, I
did you say
was.
the boobs bounced?
Yes, I was bouncing all over in my brain about that, but then all of a sudden
Your brain.
the thoughts stopped, and I realized that I had regret and had a much different score. So I'm going to stick with 7 for this.
All right, your other head. Okay, so and I will say 7 too. I will agree with you,
Oh,
7.
okay.
Um, It's not. I mean, this isn't by far like this isn't my
Yeah.
favorite Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movie or anything, or even separately. This is a pretty bad movie, but like Mark said, I did like the cinematography, the scenes where things blew up. As a kid, the titties did not hurt the movie for me. If anything, it got my interest and it kept me going. And then the rest of the movie was just sort of like now as an adult, kind of bland and boring, and kind of like I don't really care. If any of the characters died, would I have cared? Like, would I have been upset if Nicole Eggert had died? Probably a little bit more than like Corey, one of the Coreys, but you know what I mean? Like, not really, because there's no character development enough. Like, even when there should have felt like there should have been, like, what was up with Corey Feldman yelling at him at the jail, and stuff about like, you should have killed our father,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, um, this is not something you should be yelling at in a jail, like this is stuff like those are things you got to bring up after he gets out, and everything. But the reason they put that stuff, and plus nobody, you always see the movies where the person yells at the other person and then a cop comes and grabs them or something. There's none of that,
Mhm.
It's just utterly ridiculous like stuff. But it was it was a Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movie. And that's it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so all in all, it could have been better, but
No.
I still give it a 7. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap this up. I just want to thank everybody. Samantha, you and Derek are working hard on My Girlfriend the Serial Killer, so I'm really excited about that and stuff. Can't wait to hear more when that starts, getting more stuff out there. Um, and Mark, what have you been up to?
Yeah, great question. So this last year, I started a new job in the last 7 months. I've been really stepping away from film, except for some Pittsburgh productions. The movie Cursed Angels, which I filmed earlier this year, which will be coming out soon. So you maybe hear more about that. But excellent director here. So 2026, I'm going to get back into the filming world. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome, awesome. And are you guys doing something else like yourselves, Sam or
He's,
Derek?
oh,
Sam
I
or
was
Derek.
like,
Wait. Okay, yeah.
I was like,
Sam or
me
Derek.
and Mark.
Ooh, maybe into 2026. Who knows?
Uh, no, I mean, we're still working on My Girlfriend, just nailing away all the special effects. With My Girlfriend, we just want it to be heavy, heavy, heavy special effects, and so I've been learning a lot myself, and it's when you work full time and things happen, it's sometimes a little bit slower of a process, and I don't want to. I mean, heck, when we were crowdfunding, it was like 2020, and then COVID hit, and then it's been a while, but I just want to make it the best I can, and we're given that opportunity, so I'm not really trying to rush it.
Definitely. Well, I want
What
to
about
thank.
you, Moody?
yeah.
We don't usually talk about that. I mean, I'm guessing opening. See, this will be out in 2026, by the way. This
Oh,
episode will be out then. So hopefully, hopefully we'll be working on some shit. We got Hell Watch Guardians on the books coming up, so we're hoping to start shooting May or June. But you never know until money gets in hands. You have no idea when things are gonna start happening and everything, and you just hope for the
Right.
best. So, that's the biggest problem. It's just money. That's
Yeah,
always sort
it's
of the
always
problem. Yeah, I mean, if everybody in the indie film scene had money, like had a lot of money for themselves, then big things would be happening all the time. But unfortunately, you gotta take it when you can. And so, but yeah, that's all that's going on with Sick Flick Productions at the moment. But when things take off, hopefully they'll take off. We'll
right.
see. But until then, everybody, we'll be back with a new episode. It'll be Paul's turn. I'm actually recording that tomorrow, so that'll be fun tomorrow night. So I'm doing 2 Indie Film Cafe episodes back to back this week, which I'm really excited about because Paul always picks like you think I pick terrible movies. Wait till you see what Paul has, because
I know, Paul's. Yeah, I know.
he is.
Tell Paul I said hi. It's been
I
a while.
will. Yeah. He
I know, tell him I said moo.
okay, I'll let him know. He'll move right back. We were at Busch Gardens the other day for Halloween, and like he's the only one who will just find cow stuff everywhere. I won't even be looking at it and go, moo. And then you'll walk over and start like looking at the cow stuff, and I'm like, oh, there's a cow
You
thing.
know what's funny is I sent Paul one time a picture of me in a cow onesie, and this one over here, he was a little bit jealous because he's
she
like,
should be sending me photos of her in a cow onesie.
I know. Should be sending Paul them, but Paul gets stuff like that sent all the time. He just
All the
loves.
cow onesies.
right?
Yeah, he has lots of pictures with people cow. We did that. We did that once. We went up to Maryland. The girl that's going to be next week's episode, the next week's episode is we went up to Maryland to see her, and she and I and another girl had plotted where we were going to wear cow onesies, for like the thing. So he knew I had a walrus onesie, which I have both now, but he didn't know I had a cow one. And so he comes downstairs and he sees her and her friend in cow stuff, and he's like, "Oh, cool." And then he sees me, and then he goes, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" Like,
You're not part of the fantasy, Moody.
yeah,
Boner killer.
it's okay. I'm okay with that. I was not part of his plan.
You know,
Like, oh God, yes. Oh wow, women showing up in cow onesies. He has them sending them to me, and he has them showing up in them.
right? He's created something for
Yeah,
himself.
I know. Remember when we had somebody, I'm not going to say names or whatever, but we had somebody telling him he wasn't allowed to post cow stuff anymore
Oh
when we were
yeah,
running our campaign and everything. He hated that. Like,
yeah,
'cause I had to tell him, like, and then once that didn't work out, the guy said, go right back to being a cow, dude. And
yeah,
he was like, yes, I will.
yeah. Vindication.
Yeah, well, he did, and that just shows the dedication that he has to our stuff because he actually did for a little bit stop
Yeah,
posting the cow stuff to be more professional. I'm like,
yeah,
this isn't his job right now. This is
Yeah. What the? Oh, wow.
yeah.
no investor will care if Paul wears that. They might actually like it, because he's got a personality,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I will never tell. I told him the other day, I said, I will never ever tell you not to wear a cow thing ever again. Like, no. If somebody tells us to do that,
Out of
fine.
context, that could be hilarious.
If somebody just overheard my conversation, they'll be like,
Right?
all right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week for a brand new episode. Until then, everybody, I guess keep watching Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movies or whatever.
And titties.
And
Yeah.
titties.
Make sure
All
to
right.
flesh it out whenever you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Oh.